Good evening. Before we start, I'm just going to ask us to take a brief moment of silence for all of those who were impacted by the hurricane. We can just think some really good thoughts. Thank you. So this evening, there's an empty chair. My wingman has left me, but I'm going to get a newer version. Right, Phil? So at this time, I would really like to introduce our new town manager, Mr. Robert Smith, who has been with us now for, how long? A week, a whole week. So we know that you have fixed the problems of the world, or better yet, the town of Bloomfield. And our former town manager, Mr. Shank, is sitting beside him, and they've had the opportunity to work together for the last week, and they've been communicating with each other for a couple of weeks. So I'm going to ask them both to just stand up, and Mr. Smith can give a little brief overview, and then Mr. Shank can give us some assurances.
Thank you. Is this on? No. I'll speak up. Uh-oh.
Impressive, isn't it?
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council, and a big thank you to Phil. We've had a very busy week. It's a great opportunity to serve your community. I appreciate you inviting me to join you. It's a blessing for me and an honor to be here serving Bloomfield and its citizens. I've had the last week to start meeting leadership here in the staff departments. And I found an excellent group of leaders doing a lot of excellent work, really hard work for the citizens here. I'm very proud of what I'm finding. I'm looking forward to working with all of the departmental leaders in pursuit of the directions that council takes us in. So I'm very excited about working here. A little bit about me. I started out in undergraduate school in math, and was 3 years down a math degree when I met Morgan, my wife. I transferred to the College of Charleston and got a Bachelor of Arts in Fine Arts so I could be with her, and we got married down there, and then we went back to Virginia Tech for graduate school. I have a master's in urban and regional planning from Virginia Tech, and that's all about land use and permitting and land development. I'm an AICP certified planner. I took that exam in 2005 and have held that credential. I got a master's in public administration from Virginia Tech. I made it halfway through the planning degree and realized that I wanted to be a manager, not a planner, because I kept seeing wonderful plans hit a shelf and not go anywhere. And there was a disconnect between administration and management and the planning. So I got the MPA degree, and I'm an ICMA certified manager. You have to be in the profession for a length of time before you can secure that. So it was 2015 before I secured that certification. I've got about 15 years of experience as a city manager and about 25 years of experience in the public and private sectors. I bring a pretty wide range of experience to the role, and I've served in local governments across 5 states. I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of creativity, and I've served in places where there wasn't a whole lot of money, so you had to be pretty creative in addressing the issues that you had in front of you. Bloomfield has got an incredible history and a huge amount of stability. Finances, operations, leadership, they all look excellent. And given today's status with the post-recession reality, Bloomfield really does enjoy a position that few communities do. I see that as an incredible opportunity to take staff and work with them and achieve even better results for the council looking forward. It's not a secret, though, that today and looking further down the line, resources are going to be harder to come by. And so we do have to keep striving for enhancement and efficiency. We can't rest on where we stand today. We keep needing to push forward. I've helped a lot of councils across the country with services, operations, and quality of life issues. I've got a good track record of bringing state and federal tax dollars back home to the community that they came from to replace infrastructures and create development. It's my goal to serve the town of Bloomfield with vigor, exceptional professional acumen, and for an extended time. I want to put all that education and experience and professional knowledge that I've gained to work here, and I want to make a difference for the community, for the council, and my team. I want to serve and contribute a lasting impact here. I have the public's interest always at heart, and I have a passion for public service. It's what I've made my professional life, and you can count on me to be actively engaged and interested in what the community has to say about our service and our quality. Towards those ends, I maintain an open door policy. If you want to meet with me, you can meet with me. I'll put aside the work I'm working on unless I have somebody else with me at the time, and we'll chat. I want to hear from people. I want to know what they think. I want to work on the town's service, its performance, transparency, and the issues that always surface when you're striving for excellence. I'd like to thank the council for the opportunity to join this team and become an active, invested part in the community and to make a positive difference for the town. Thank you.
Mr. Smith? You can now you can sit here.
Thank you, Robert, and it's a great pleasure to be able to hand over the reins, if you will, to somebody who's a seasoned manager. And based upon my short tenure with Robert, I know he will be a great asset to Bloomfield and all of us as we go forward. Contrary to what some of you may think, I'm not moving to Florida. I'm not moving to Vermont. I'm staying right here in Bloomfield, and close by are our three beautiful granddaughters in West Hartford. My son and his family are near Boston, and my daughter is in Vermont, but so we're kind of New England based as a family. And I just want to thank everybody for your support, dedication, commitment to the town, its employees, and all of the activities that we've conducted during my tenure here. Some of them have been interesting, some of them have been beyond interesting, but we've accomplished an awful lot, and it's really due to the teamwork all of us have put in together. The council, you have to remember, councils are not necessarily elected to all work together well, okay? They're designed to represent the various opinions that we have in the community. And I've been very pleased to have worked with 3 different councils, and all of them have proved to be of value to the community and work cooperatively with our staff. So with that, thank you very much, and I would hope you'd give the same level of support, commitment, and dedication to Robert as he takes over the helm. Thank you.
Well, the good thing is, he isn't going anywhere. And on most meetings, you'll still see him sitting right over there because the transition period is going to be seamless. So thank you both. Thank you, Robert, and welcome. Thank you very much, Phil. Totally appreciate it. At this time, the town has once again been awarded the Government Finance Officers Association Certificate of Conformance in Financial Reporting. This is the highest form of recognition for our finance department and its operations. It is an absolute imperative award looked at by our credit rating agencies in assigning credit ratings. So at this time, we would like to thank Carrie and her staff in their absence for the outstanding work that they have done to receive this award once again. It makes our town just that much more amazing. So please, let's give them a round of applause. At this time, we'll move on to citizen statements and petitions. Please be mindful of the 3-minute rule. Once you hear the buzzer go off, please wrap up your last statement. India?
Joe Walsh. Willis, I'm sorry.
Good evening. My name is Joe Willis. I live at 317 Seabury Drive. In March 1973, my wife and I moved our family of 4 young children to Jeffrey Lane in Bloomfield, and the 2 of us have lived in Bloomfield ever since. Within the last year, we have chosen to move into the continuing care retirement community at Seabury in Bloomfield. As an organization within Church Home of Hartford Incorporated, Seabury is recognized by both the federal and state governments as a religious and charitable not-for-profit 501c3 entity. Seabury is an affiliate and recognized mission of the Episcopal Church of Connecticut. As a charitable organization, Seabury provides financial assistance to many of its residents, including clergy of all faiths. To date, Seabury has provided more than $4 million in benevolent support to those otherwise unable to live or remain at Seabury. Today, Seabury has become one of Bloomfield's largest employers, is a member of the Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce, and has donated more than 90 acres to the town of Bloomfield as open space. Seabury residents volunteer in many public activities. Seabury has always paid taxes to the town of Bloomfield and is currently the 9th largest financial contributor to the town. It has paid nearly $14 million to Bloomfield since its arrival in 1992. Seabury is willing to pay its fair share of taxes, but not in excess over what it should be paying based on its Superior Court stipulation agreement from September 2011. The town initially increased Seabury's value for September end 2018 by almost $10 million to $27.6 million. Bloomfield then added another $3.6 million to this assessment. This is a whopping 75% increase from 2017. As a result of the town billing Seabury for all of the $27.6 million and a portion of the $3.6 million assessed value increases, Seabury's total tax bill increased from almost $715,000 in 2017 to nearly $1.2 million today. This is a 62% increase, or $500,000 a year. This excessive amount is caused by the town's wanton disregard and failure to fully apply all exemptions that Seabury is entitled to as a result of the 2011 Superior Court order. You, the town council, as the governing body, as well as the assessor, should hang your heads in shame for abrogating the terms and conditions of the 2011 agreement. You are acting in blatant disregard to the rule of law, as well as violating the tenets of the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, where the Supreme Court has ruled that government must provide for tax exemptions to keep and uphold the separation of church and state. The current proposed tax assessment value goes beyond the pale and gives me cause to ponder the real reason why the original pre-trial hearing set for August 29th, 2019 has been rescheduled until after both the town-wide primary and fall elections. Could it possibly be for the perceived benefit of having political cover? You know full well Seabury must expend precious limited available money, effort, and time to defend what has already been adjudicated back in the 2011 agreement. I can't help but think how very cynical this action really is. Again, shame on you. Bloomfield's approach to Seabury in this matter of attempting to purloin money previously ordered by the courts will certainly cause me to reflect on how to cast my vote in the coming town elections.
Excuse me, sir, the clock has gone off. Can you kind of wrap up? Your time is up.
The state of Connecticut has given Cigna a $107 million tax break, and you have just signed an agreement with them for additional tax reductions. But yet you have provided an assessment that abrogates a court order so that you can steal additional money from seniors living out their lives on fixed incomes. Thank you.
Thank you.
For Donzie Graham Days. Thank you.
For Donzie Graham Days, 89 Wittenberry Avenue. I'm here specifically to address council as it relates to education and the Board of Education. Specifically, Councilman Kenneth McCleary and Councilwoman Jennifer Marshall-Neely. Some literature that you guys are passing out has come to my attention with regards to what you plan to demand from education, which would be an increase in their budget, a decrease in classroom sizes. I'm wondering where you've been over the past 5 to 6 years, particularly since you've been on town council this term. Neither of you have consistently supported the parents in our plight to hold the Board of Education accountable. At this point in time, our classrooms are overcrowded as a direct result of Dr. Thompson, Mr. Guzman, and Mr. Donald Harris having decided or predetermined that they would be working at the state and leaving us with this bag. Everyone knew since May that they were going to get 3%. So I'm really concerned at this point because first it was Councilman Merritt who tried to bring up the topic again once you all have agreed upon it. And then I see literature from the two of you guys saying what you're going to do, where all along we've asked for your assistance and help. It has come, but it's been fleeting. So hopefully, if re-elected, I hope that you are diligent and true to your word, especially with the fact that you label yourselves as trustworthy Democrats. I hope that your actions display how you view yourself. Thank you very much for your time.
New business, council business, 1920-07, review, discussion, action, adoption of resolution, gun violence. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm very sorry. Report from our subcommittees. Community Service and Admin Education, Deputy Mayor.
Madam Mayor, at this time I have nothing to report until the month of October.
Finance, Councilor Roth.
Very similar. I apologize. We did not do council subcommittee reports in our July meeting, or excuse me, in our August meeting. I did attach a report that will be attached in the minutes for this meeting so people can read it. The Finance Subcommittee will be meeting next week on a week from tonight on September 16th. Thank you very much.
Public Safety, Councilor McCleary.
I have no report from Public Safety as the meeting was canceled due to labor negotiations.
Committee on Committees and Land Use and Economic Development, Councilor Mann.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a report from the July 16th meeting, which was not given at the last meeting because we didn't have committee reports. Would you like me to read that now? Should I? Is this appropriate?
Is it possible just to?
It'll be pretty quick. The Land Use and Economic Development Committee met on July 16th to discuss the Reservoir 2 lease, which is under consideration with the Department of Environmental Protection. This is for Reservoir 2, which is around the Seabury area. A 50-year lease that the town has expired, and we're in the process of renegotiating that lease with them. In the meantime, since it has expired and while we're still working on it, the existing lease terms are still in force. We've also found a new developer who has expressed interest in taking over a 41-unit, 3-story affordable housing development proposed for 15 Douglas Street. This individual is also interested in another location. He's happy with Bloomfield. He sees an opportunity to take advantage of existing plans for that project, which were vacated by the previous developer because they couldn't get state funding. And he wants to move that forward as well as another project. Let's see. Okay, finally, as a heads up, the committee was informed of an interest of existing landowner wants to obtain an easement over town-owned property in the Pent Road area. Although in the preliminary stage, the easement would allow for access for the creation of 1 or 2 residential building lots and several residents have expressed concern about this. The matter may become before council before long. I just want to raise your attention to the matter. There was no action taken on this. There will be more information forthcoming. The Committee on Committees did meet on August 19th, and as a result, there were three nominations on the agenda for discussion.
Excellent. New business 1920-07, consider and take action regarding adoption of resolution gun violence prevention measures. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Is there any discussions?
Is somebody going to read the motion?
I was about to say, if there's no discussion.
Yeah.
Any discussions? Going once, going twice. Councilor McCleary, would you like to read the resolution?
The West Hartford Town Council recently voted for a bipartisan resolution calling on Congress to act swiftly to enact common sense gun reform. Please find the letter and resolution sent to the Connecticut elected municipal officials urging communities to do the same. Should council wish to move forward, the following motion would be in order. Move to adopt the following resolution. Whereas gun violence is a serious threat to public health and safety, and whereas Connecticut, like other states, experience gun violence on a daily basis, and whereas Connecticut has been the location of some of the worst mass shootings in the history of the United States, including Connecticut lottery shooting, the Hartford distributors shooting, and Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. Whereas the United States is in the midst of an epidemic of gun violence with tens of thousands of gun deaths per year, and has a much higher rate of gun deaths and injuries than other developed countries. And whereas a succession of mass shooting has taken place over the past few weeks across the United States, including the communities of El Paso, Texas, Dayton, Ohio, and California. Whereas a high-capacity assault weapon served no legitimate purpose in civilian society, and whereas the United States has a patchwork of gun laws and regulations, meaning that gun violence can easily be exported from state and communities with lax gun laws and regulations. Now therefore be resolved by the Town Council of Bloomfield, calls on the United States Congress to immediately reconvene in order to fund federal research on gun violence prevention and adopt comprehensive reforms, including university background check, a ban on high-capacity assault weapons, a federal red flag law allowing police to confiscate firearms from people who are deemed to be a danger to themselves or others, and a federal registry for dangerous weapon offenders.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
There was more, but we're...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's the same.
Huh?
It's the same.
There was more
No, that was
there.
it.
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Oh, it's the same thing. Okay.
That was it.
Motion carries unanimously. 1920-08, consider and take action regarding appointments to the Bloomfield Housing Authority. Councilor Mann.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Committee on Committees voted to nominate to this full council the name of Robert Berman to continue on the Bloomfield Housing Authority for another term. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. 1920-09, consider and take action regarding appointment to the Advisory Lower Farmington River and Salmon Brook Wild and Scenic Committee. Is there a motion?
Yes.
Councilor Mann?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. The two people who were nominated by the Committee on Committees were people who have been active in the development of this wild and scenic program for over 10 years, trying to bring attention to the Farmington River and its importance to our community and to the environment surrounding us. And the committee has voted to nominate Paula Jones and Mary Ann Horn to fill positions on the management committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussions?
Yes, I have a question.
Councilor McCleary?
Would this be the committee to oversee the implementation of the Farmington River Plan, Parks Plan?
It is my knowledge that is the case.
I don't think so, no.
The management of it?
Not the parks.
No, not the parks, but the Farmington River,
Watershed.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Any one abstention?
Well, I abstain on the primary nomination and vote yes on the alternate.
Okay, so one abstention, motion carries unanimous, minus one. Okay. 1920-10, consider and take action regarding certificate of authority for the town manager, Mr. Robert E. Smith. Is there a motion on the floor?
Madam Mayor?
Councilman.
I will move that, and the resolution states, the resolution states, resolved that Robert E. Smith, town manager, is hereby authorized to make, execute, and approve on behalf of the town of Bloomfield any and all contracts relevant to the town of Bloomfield, and to execute and approve on behalf of the town of Bloomfield other instruments, a part or instance of such contracts, effective until August 31st, 2023, or as otherwise ordered by the Bloomfield Town Council.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. 1920-11, consider and take action regarding adoption of the 2020-2021 budget schedule.
Madam Mayor, I will move we adopt the schedule.
Any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. 1920-12, consider and take action regarding easement across La Salette Park between Byfield Hollow North and South. Is there a motion on the floor?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I move that this be referred to the Land Use and Economic Development Committee for discussion and recommendation to full council.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussions?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to point out, because Councilor Mann made the point earlier, that a few sessions ago, the Land Use and Economic Development Commission, our subcommittee, received a request to give a property owner an easement off of Pent Road. And as Councilor Mann pointed out, there are lots of issues related to this, not the least of which is the fact that the difference in valuation of the property with and without the easement is something that the town may have a fiduciary responsibility in. So I know that the town attorney is looking at this. This issue will be exactly the same, and in fact, it also has the additional tweak in it that is across town parkland, and that's another issue. But I just want the public to be aware that there should be a lot of discussion of this over the next few months.
Right.
Land use.
So this is going to go to land use. All in favor? I'm sorry.
Committees. It's actually going to two committees.
What's that?
Land use and the Town Plan and Zoning Commission.
That's not a committee.
That's council something.
Actually, no, Council
It's in the motion.
Council Lorenzo is correct. This is the statutory requirement that they have to approve any they have to opine on any land use.
So we're amending the motion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Yes.
Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, are we on 19-20-12?
Well, yeah.
It needs an 824 referral to.
At 8.
That's what it said, town plan or something.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's included in the motion.
We just amended the motion.
No, it's actually included in the motion. It's in the original motion. Yep.
So it's all set?
Yep.
We all agree? Okay. Motion carries unanimously. Okay. 1920-13, consider and take action regarding the Complete Streets Master Plan and Policy. Is there a motion on the floor? Yes.
See if I can get this one right. For a number of months now, the town has been engaged with citizens to prepare a complete streets program or plan for how we can fully utilize our streets for the maximum benefit of all our citizens, whether they drive cars, walk, or ride bicycles, are impaired or not. And they've come up with a final plan, and I would recommend that they present that to our Land Use and Economic Development Subcommittee for consideration and for final recommendation back to this council at next month's meeting.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. 1920-14, take action regarding the tax refunds.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I move that the tax refunds in the list attached to the agenda from our Finance Director, Terry Rowley, be approved in accordance with the usual procedure.
Second.
Discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. At this time, do you have anything to report?
It's been a very busy week, and I'm looking forward to learning even more.
Sounds great.
Just got to get the mic next time.
Oh.
Then press the button.
Oh, I'm sorry. For the record, I just want to thank everyone for the opportunity to be here. It's been a very busy week, and I'm looking forward to several more. I'm looking forward to getting in front of the departments and visiting with them at their shops to get a feel for what's going on in the field. And I'll be reporting in more detail on my progress along those lines to council at our next meeting. Thank you.
Excellent. The only thing that I can say is the partnerships that we have with the 3 churches in town, First Congregational, First Cathedral, and Rehoboth. If anyone would like to make donations to send to the Bahamas and anywhere that has been affected by the hurricane, please contact those 3 churches, First Congregational, First Cathedral, and the Rehoboth Church of God, and they are making sure that donations get to where they need to go. At this time, can we have approval of the August 26, 2019 special meeting?
Second.
Discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. August 12, 2019
So
meeting?
move.
Second.
Discussion?
Actually, if we go back up for a second,
Yeah,
I think
abstention?
yeah.
So Elizabeth will be abstaining from...
the first meeting.
Right.
Yep.
So with this, is there any abstentions?
Yep.
Okay, on the 12th as well. Everyone else is voting?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, any, at this time, we're going to have council comments. We're going to start with Councilor Waterhouse.
Robert. Yep.
Thank you for coming out today.
Councilor Marshall Neely.
Good evening. I would like to respectfully respond to our resident Vadenzi. And I say that because I do have respect for Vadenzi. I just wanted you to know that a lot of folks don't know that I had conversations with the Board of Education, with Dr. Thompson and Don Harris with regard to funding for the students in our school system. Although it wasn't made public knowledge, I did have several meetings with them because I do support funding for our schools. As someone who worked in education, I understand the value of funding our schools and how important it is for our students to get the resources that they need in order to be successful. So although it wasn't made public and there were no cameras, I did have those meetings. I did address funding for our students, and even though it wasn't in the newspaper, I was working behind the scenes to try to get what was necessary for our students. And so, respectfully, that's my response to that. I'd like to say thank you to Seabury for inviting both Row A and Row B to a meet and greet.
Madam Mayor, with all due respect, this is a public meeting. It's not a political.
For them inviting us. Please don't interrupt me.
Madam Mayor,
because it was
this
important.
council meeting cannot discuss any political action that anyone
I am not discussing political. I am
that
saying
event
thank you.
was a political event.
I am saying thank you for the invitation. And even though, while I was there, the video was cut off, these folks are wonderful people, and I got to hear a lot from folks regarding the assessment, which is a topic that came up this evening. Although I can't do anything personally about the assessment, I can say that I respond to every letter that is mailed to me from the Seabury residents, and my letters will say, there's not much that I can do except respond to your letters and try to understand your pain. I understand what's going on. So with that, I just wanted to say thank you for that. Another thing is, I am pleased that the resurfacing, the construction of the roads is finally underway. I drove around many of the roads in Bloomfield, Ledyard, Pine Grove, Daniel Boulevard, Marguerite, and I see that the construction is finally underway. So with all of the pictures that I've taken, the sizing of the potholes or the letters from people in the community, I hope you're watching this and actually coming to some understanding on what the process was in order to get to this point. But thankfully we are there, and thankfully we're actually getting something done with our roads in Bloomfield. And with that, I just want to say good night.
Councilor Merritt.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I first would like to recognize how happy I am, at least, I think everybody else is, that we have a new town manager who is in process of making a smooth transition. I would thank both our former town manager, give him a lot of credit for that, and to Robert Smith, who I have great hopes. We're off to a great start, and I have great hopes we're going to have a very smooth transition. I have seen bad transitions, so I think this is so important and give everybody credit for having a good one. And we're off to a good start, and that's great. I would also like to say that I put on the agenda, I think as everybody knows, something that was taken off the agenda for tonight. And I understand why, and I'm hoping from the comments I heard that there will be some funding for the schools, for teachers, coming down the road. I hope that, I sense that it was said by some people, that they have a great need. They have oversized class sizes, which wasn't expected in the budget, and they're short $3.5 million, and that's causing us serious problems in the school, and I think the council should come to the assistance to the degree we can. So I hope that does happen. I would also say how happy I am, and some of you might have looked at, I guess it's not called a blog, but on Facebook I've had a Bloomfield, Connecticut East Coast Greenway section that you can log on to if you like, and for the last 5 or so years I've been making entries and putting pictures of the progress of the East Coast Greenway in Bloomfield. And happily last Sunday, yesterday, I brought my family, went the whole length of it, and part of it still isn't paved, but it's quite bikeable already. And the construction crew, it's not technically open, but the construction crew is very experienced in doing bike paths, and they know that bikers don't pay any attention to that anyway. And so it's a very nice thing, and I'm so happy it's happening. And I'm also would like to comment on the pickleball courts, which we have. Bloomfield has the first outside pickleball courts in the area. And people are coming there over behind off of Willows Avenue on Rockwell, and some of us old folks really like pickleball because you don't need to run quite as fast as you do when you play tennis, and so tennis has become a burden to us. And they're coming from very experienced pickleball players. They're coming from all over the area, West Hartford. You see the BMWs driving into Rockwell is kind of amusing to me, but that's that they're filling that parking lot up and using those courts. They were tennis courts for years and nobody was ever there. Now they're busy, so we have a new first in the area, and I think we should be proud of it. Thank you.
Councilor McCleary.
Thank you. I want to take the time to welcome the new town manager to Bloomfield. Welcome, and I look forward to supporting you as long as I'm sitting up here. I also want to respectfully respond to the citizen that came out about my wavering support for the Board of Education. I was trying to do a quick search of the minutes from the budget session when the Board of Ed came, and Dr. Thompson and Chairman Harrison came and presented the Board of Education. And I will look tomorrow when I get some time to see if I can find a video from BATV where my line of questioning was, if you do not receive the funding and you get the cuts, would the cuts affect the classroom? I kept asking that question a number of times. If this council does not give you the money that you're requesting, what is the effect on the classroom sizes and the teachers? And I didn't get an answer. I circled back around to ask the Board of Ed, could you provide us with a report on a forecast? If you do not get the money from this council, what would be the unintended consequences of it? And I kept asking that question. I kept being cut off. I was told I had asked too many questions and I couldn't dig deeper into it. Though I know in organizations, when they take cuts, they go straight to the bottom, to the little people. And it's sad that the cuts happened and they went straight to the little people in the classrooms. And the result of that is that class sizes has increased, particularly in my daughter's classroom. 22 students, 21 cubby boxes, 22 4-year-olds, 1 teacher. Think about it. The question is now, what is this council going to do about it? Are we going to continue to hold central office staff over the heads of our kids, right? Because now it becomes about the kids and it becomes about their education and whether they are able to get a decent education. Yes, I understand that we pay $21,000 per pupil and it's relatively high compared to our surrounding towns, but it's our future. The future is now, and if we don't educate these kids and we hold, central office is heavy, no question about it. It's very, very heavy. But we need to make sure that our kids are in a classroom size that is manageable for the teachers. What are we doing with their morale, right? So Verdunzi, it wasn't that I was not supportive of the parents behind the scenes. I've been, asking those questions in public. I try to ask the questions to support the parents. A couple of parents commented on my Facebook post. I wholeheartedly believe that we should get, I compare it to I go back to President Obama and comparing the economy to a car, right? Right. Dr. Thompson has done, he inherited a tough situation. The car, as far as the education system in Bloomfield, was in a ditch, and he got it out of the ditch. I would advise that the Board of Education look at their central office staff to determine whether the tow truck driver is needed, to determine whether, the people that they have around them is needed. The time is to get the car moving. So what mechanics do you need to bring around to make sure that car continue to move? And it's this council's job to make sure that we work hand in hand with the Board of Education to make sure that they have the resources and that those resources are going into the classroom. So as long as I'm on this council, I will continue to support education, because the future of this country and this town is at stake. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Council comments. I have basically 3. First of all, I do want to just take 1 second and respond to, I think it was Mr. Willis from Seabury. We've all been getting the letters. We all know the situation at Seabury, and we're all following it. And I think that the residents of Seabury are well aware that it is not in the council's hands at this point. It is in the hands of the assessor by law. But what I did want to say was we on the council really have no idea when trial dates are set or when trial dates are moved. So I would respectfully tell Mr. Willis that no one on this council even knew that the I think it was pre-hearing trial date that was given to us a couple of months or a month ago in executive session. We had no idea that that was moved. So the idea that the council is manipulating that, I would like to respectfully tell him that we aren't even aware of those dates. The other thing I would also like to add my congratulations to our new town manager, Robert Smith, and I think we are very fortunate, and he mentioned this when I happened to run into him last week, that most jobs, when he walks into a town manager job, he faces an empty desk with some documentation that's been left on the table. And he's in a particularly fortunate situation because our previous town manager, Mr. Schenk, is here to help him out, here to show him all the ropes and give him a lot of background and advice on things. So I think that's great. Finally, I'd just like to make a comment on the issues relating to school funding, the council, and the Board of Education. I think a lot of the comments, the passionate comments about resources and where they go in our schools is precisely right. It's something that we need to be very aware of because, you know, our children and the young people in our community are our future. We have to make sure that they are ready for the 21st century. But people need to understand that the allocation of funds at the school system is the sole, and I say the sole purview of the Board of Education. It is not the purview of the town council. And in fact, the legal cases that have sort of set up the separation between the two sides are very specific. I think they originally arose out of a case where a town council, and I can't remember the town, earmarked a specific amount of money to go to a school system for a specific purpose. The school system took the money, did not use it for that purpose. The town sued, and they lost, because all decisions of where funds, once they are given to the Board of Education, all decisions relating to how those funds are used, at least with respect to education funds, are the sole purview of the Board of Education. So I think everyone should be very, very aware of that, and that's the question, that's the body that needs to be addressing the issue. Thank you.
Councilor DiLorenzo.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I too wanted to welcome Robert Smith to the town of Bloomfield as our new town manager, and we know we're looking forward to working with you, and wish you much success and happy house hunting. And also, of course, to Phil Schenk. I know you're staying in Bloomfield, I'm so happy about that, but heartfelt thanks to all you have done for this town over the last 6 years, basically almost the entire time I've served on this council. So thank you for everything you've done. I know you'll still be here for a while working through the transition with Robert, so I look forward to seeing you. Lastly, I want to say that I attended a breakfast at the Senior Center for the accreditation, and just wanted to let everyone know the wonderful senior center that you have here in the town of Bloomfield. It's been accredited. They're going through the reaccreditation. We met with the woman who's doing the accreditation, and Yvette was there as well, and the amount of services that we provide to our seniors is outstanding, and it is so well received by our seniors. They love the senior center. The meeting was held over at 330 Park in the beautiful new building that's there, and it was a great breakfast and great to be part of that. And I'm looking forward to continuing to hear about the accreditation and how it's going. I fully expect that the Senior Center is going to meet all of the criteria to receive its reaccreditation at the national level, and I think Bloomfield should be really, really proud of that. So with that, I just want to say, I guess summer's over. We're back, and we'll be here through the rest of this year. So thank you. Have a good night.
Councilor Mann?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't want to repeat everything that was said because the subjects that were taken up were very important and they're going to be with us for a while, especially the education issues. I think Councilor Goff put them very succinctly, and none of us want to see our children handicapped by going to our schools. It's our goal to make the schools function in a way that makes them excel. I believe we're going to be, in the coming weeks, having some meetings with the Board of Education, trying to implement our memorandum of understanding with them to try and deal with some of these issues. Councilor Di Lorenzo mentioned the senior services accreditation. This town is blessed by having not only one accredited agency, we have more than one. The Department of Public Works and Police Department have also reached accreditations beyond their local scale, and that's something we can all be proud of. I don't have much because, as I said, this is a strange time of the year, and everybody's busy doing other things. But I did want to, again, echo the comments about welcoming our new town manager, who happens to be a fellow ASCP planner, and we were very happy to have you come to our town. I hope you feel you can prosper here and fit in well. It might take you a while, but I see you're on a good track thus far, so I'm very happy about that. And Phil, what can I say? You've been around here for a long time, not just here, but in the area, and you've established yourself very well amongst the professionals and citizens in most of these towns. I hope you'll stay on. I know you're not going to want to run for council, but, but we certainly could use your counsel. You're good counsel from now and then. Thank you very much.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I also want to take the opportunity to welcome our new town manager, Robert Smith. I called him last Friday just to check in at the end of the day to see how his day went, and he says, you know what, I'm getting around. I'm getting to meet the various staff and the leadership. And I just want to say a big thank you and just give a big wave to Phil. As a new elected official back in 2017, coming into this whole process could be very mind-boggling. And to work with someone like Phil, who's a class act, I mean, his doors were open for you. He kind of led you down the right path. He kind of threw up that red flag if you were going out of line, but he's someone that I learned a lot from, and I think I'm going to be very grateful for that, Phil. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I just have to know where you live so I could drop by once in a while and say hi, just to check on you. I also just want to opine on the whole educational topic. I think I have a right to because I have two kids within the school system. My daughter, who is in the 4th grade, who's happy to go to school every day. She came on the first day and said, Dad, everything is fine. I love my teacher. She's great. So she's doing well. My son is in the 7th grade, and he's doing well also. He wasn't too happy going to school the first morning, but he came home and said he's happy. He loves his teacher. It is a fact that apparently some of our classrooms are over more than 25 students in the classroom, but that's not a council issue. My problem from day one has been we cannot look at a school system where a large percentage of the cost is in the main office, central office. I don't want to go through the list, but they need to make some cuts on that level. You can't expect to cut frontline teachers and have a heavy central office. So I would say in the next couple of weeks, this council can sit down and work with the Board of Ed to figure out exactly what's going on, and we need to make some real cuts. Every household is making decisions on a daily basis, and I think we need to do that in the town of Bloomfield at every single level, not only at the town, but at the Board of Ed. I just want to just say a few things on Ms. Verdunzi that came out tonight, And I think part of her frustration was when we have colleagues on this council calling parents who come into the meeting a mayor-led hate group. And I didn't see any one of those council members making any comment in public. I've heard a lot from council members in public, but I didn't see any one of those council members coming out and defending those parents. Listen, they come out here, they have a right as any other resident to come out and address this council, but not to be called a hate group. So what I would say in the future, for those council members who want to defend parents, do it in public, not in secret. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So Mr. Smith has come to Bloomfield. And we're happy, Mr. Smith. I do want to say a special thank you to Phil, and I'm still going to get my phone calls in because you're the only one that can tell me, take the high road. Phil, I'm going to fall off the high road. No, you're not. Just take the high road. You have been a very valuable resource to me personally, and I thank you for that. I do to always say to you that I'm comfortable that you're going to be here. I'm comfortable that you're going to be here. Mr. Smith, I'm comfortable that he's going to be here for you. And then I'm going to be comfortable when you're here by yourself. So I'm grateful for that. I don't like things hanging. So when we had our budget meeting of the 91 million and change, the vote was 6-2. That means 6 counselors voted for the budget, and a part of the budget was the school budget. So 6 counselors voted for the budget. 2 counselors, Counselor Merritt and Counselor Waterhouse, did not vote for the budget, but everyone else did. It's fair to say that our schools need help. It's also very fair to say that we realize that students are our most precious and valuable resource. If we harm them, shame on us. However, if we continue to write blank checks with no accountability, with no assurance, shame on us. So something has to be done. We all need to come to the table. We all need to work together so that our most precious and valuable resources have all the tools they need to be 2 things: competitive in this 21st century and successful. That's the only thing that we as parents, as counselors, as decision makers, those are the only 2 things that we should be able to give our children. And I was at the school for the first day at the high school, and I saw some students who call me auntie, and I'm like, oh, my babies, my babies. And this one girl said, oh no, they're not just your babies, we're all your babies. So I think we all take responsibility for every student in our school system. We want our school system to work, because if we want Bloomfield to be a place where people can work and live and play and raise a family, that includes every aspect of our town, and that also includes our schools. Our new town manager came here a week ago, and he was out at a meeting, and I said, I'm so glad to see you. He said to me, I had to be here, but now I'm going to go to Walmart and buy a blow-up bed so I can find some place to sleep. That means he was ready to hit the ground day one. He also saw some of the emails that were going back with counselors. Let's throw this amount of money at the school board. Let's throw that amount of money at the school board. And he said, wait a minute, let's have a meeting. Let's call the school board in. Let's have a special meeting between the board and the council, and let's see how we can reasonably, sensibly, fiscally responsibly address this issue so that our students can be 2 things: successful and competitive. And I believe I can speak for most of the council, if not all of the council, that that should be our only concern. Thank you. Thank you to everyone that came out. Thank you to everyone that has stayed for the meeting. We greatly appreciate your support. We greatly appreciate you adding your voice to all the discussions that takes place here and concerns our town. Just a blanket statement. There is a primary tomorrow. Get the facts. Vote. Thank you. Is there a motion on the floor?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?